37.9 inches of snow. That is not a seasonal total. That is not a monthly total. That is what Providence, Rhode Island, recorded in a single storm in less than 48 hours. That number, confirmed by the National Weather Service, is the highest single storm snowfall total in Providence's recorded history. Every record that existed before February 23, 2026, is gone. Right now, at this very moment, over 600,000 homes and businesses across 8 states are without power. Over 11,000 flights have been canceled through Tuesday. And the storm that caused all of this, the nor'easter now being called the blizzard of 2026, is not finished, not entirely. Here is exactly what you are going to learn in this video. You are going to get the precise timing for what is still coming to your city this week. Not general information, exact times. You are going to understand why meteorologists are calling this the most significant winter weather pattern in a generation. And you are going to find out why the worst single threat of the week is not the blizzard that just happened. It is what is being forecast for Wednesday night and Thursday. If you are watching from anywhere between the Great Lakes and the Gulf Coast, the information in this video is critical for you. Do not move. What comes next is going to shock you. Here is the important part. The National Weather Service confirmed that Providence, Rhode Island, set an all-time snowfall record with 37.9 inches from a single storm. At its peak, over 40 million Americans across 8 states were simultaneously under blizzard warnings, not winter storm watches, not winter weather advisories, full blizzard warnings. More than 600,000 customers lost power from Virginia to Massachusetts. Newark, New Jersey recorded 27.1 inches, its second largest snowstorm in history. Long Island saw some of the most extreme accumulations anywhere, with well over 2 feet of snow across multiple communities, shattering previous records set in February of 2013. Central Park in Manhattan tallied 19.7 inches, placing this storm in the top 10 snowstorms ever recorded in New York City. But that was not the worst of it. Here is what nobody else is covering right now. While the country's attention is locked on the cleanup in the Northeast, another dangerous system is already forming. Long-range forecast models are tracking a significant winter storm for the Midwest and Ohio Valley beginning Wednesday night. Chicago, Indianapolis, Toledo, Dayton, Detroit. That storm has the potential to produce ice and sleet in addition to heavy snow, and forecasters are flagging a transition zone that could create near-zero visibility conditions during the Thursday morning commute. If you are in Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, or Indiana, pay close attention to what comes next. The situation is about to get much worse before it gets better. What made this nor'easter so catastrophically powerful comes down to a process called bomb cyclogenesis. When a coastal low-pressure system drops 24 millibars of pressure or more in 24 hours, meteorologists call it a bomb cyclone. This storm did exactly that, exploding in intensity offshore before slamming the coastline with hurricane-force wind gusts exceeding 75 miles per hour. Think of it like a pressure valve releasing all at once. The atmosphere essentially detonated off the coast, and the Northeast absorbed the full blast. What made this particular bomb cyclone so extreme was the combination of factors that aligned simultaneously. An Arctic air mass entrenched across New England provided the cold reservoir needed to sustain exceptional snowfall rates. A moisture-rich flow off the Atlantic fed the system a continuous supply of fuel, and the storm stalled, sitting nearly stationary over the region for nearly 2 full days, allowing snow to pile up at rates of 2 to 4 inches per hour in the hardest-hit areas. Could the forecasts have been more specific at the city level? The National Weather Service issued warnings 5 days in advance. Governors declared states of emergency, and yet, over 600,000 people still lost power, and abandoned vehicles choked major highways during the worst hours of the storm. That raises a difficult question. If this storm was predicted days ahead of time, why were so many people caught off guard? Quick question before we continue. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your city and state in the comments below and share what the weather is like at your location. Are you buried in snow, or did this storm miss you completely? I read every single comment, and I will update you with what to expect for your area this week. Here is your critical timeline for what has already happened and what is still coming. Sunday, February 22nd. The nor'easter begins pushing inland across the mid-Atlantic. Washington, D., Baltimore, and Delaware see initial accumulations overnight. 2 people are killed near Sunderland, Maryland, when a falling tree crushes their vehicle. That is how the week began. By early Monday morning, February 23rd, the storm reaches full blizzard intensity across New York and New England. Do not be fooled by the word blizzard alone. This was something different. Whiteout conditions from Long Island to Boston. Snow falling at rates of 3 to 4 inches per hour. Visibility drops to 0 in minutes. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey reports abandoned vehicles blocking every major artery south of Boston, tow trucks unable to reach them, plow crews unable to pass. By noon on Monday in New York City, Central Park records 19.7 inches and climbing. Mayor Zohran Mamdani issues a rare citywide travel ban, closing streets, highways, and bridges to all non-essential vehicles. The Long Island Railroad suspends service entirely, thousands of commuters stranded. Monday afternoon, Providence, Rhode Island, surpasses 37 inches, breaking every single storm record in the city's history. A travel ban across the entire state of Rhode Island remains in effect. Monday evening into Tuesday morning, Maine, Portland, Augusta, Caribou, snow still falling. Winds gusting along the coastline creating sustained whiteout conditions through midnight. Travel not just discouraged, but physically impossible in many areas. Plow crews unable to get ahead of the drifting. After midnight Tuesday, the storm finally begins to lift toward Canada, and crews can begin to make real progress. But here is the part that the cleanup crews are dealing with right now. Black ice. Once the snow stopped and temperatures dropped overnight, any untreated surface refroze. The National Weather Service warns that black ice remains a critical hazard through the Tuesday morning commute across every state from Virginia to Maine. And now, look ahead. Tuesday into Wednesday, a Pacific storm system pushes a clipper through the Great Lakes, dropping additional snow across Michigan and northern Ohio, then pushing into the already buried Northeast by Wednesday morning. Boston, Hartford, New York City, and Concord, New Hampshire. Another 2 to 4 inches added on top of what is already there. For people still digging out, this is salt in the wound. Wednesday night into Thursday, this is the one to watch. A new winter storm develops across the Midwest. Chicago, your window for significant snow and ice begins Wednesday night. By early Thursday morning, the storm extends from Indianapolis east through Fort Wayne, Toledo, Dayton, and up through Detroit. Here is the terrifying part. Forecasters are watching a transition zone where snow transitions to sleet and freezing rain during the Thursday morning commute. 1/4 inch of ice on roads makes them impassable. 1/2 inch brings down power lines. Tennessee, Huntsville, Chattanooga, Florence, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia. Thursday afternoon brings a different threat for you. A line of strong thunderstorms, potentially severe, tracking through your area Thursday afternoon and evening. The situation is not over for anyone east of the Rockies. What comes next will prove decisive for millions. Consider what it means to be inside a home in South Providence, Rhode Island on Monday morning, February 23, 2026. The snow that began falling on Sunday has not stopped. Outside, you cannot see your own front yard. The wind is howling at 60 miles per hour, blowing the snow horizontal. When you try to open the front door, you cannot. The drift against it is 4 feet high. You are not trapped by accident. You are trapped by one of the most powerful storms to ever make landfall on the northeast coast of the United States. This is not hype. This is not exaggeration. This is what nearly 40 million people experienced simultaneously across 8 states. The Boston Globe, one of America's most storied newspapers, with a history stretching back 153 years, did not print a paper on Monday. For the first time in its entire history, the storm made it physically impossible. Think about that. A newspaper that published through 2 world wars, multiple blizzards, recessions, and pandemics, shut down by this storm. Boston itself was buried under more than 2 feet of snow by the time the storm exited. Plow crews worked through the night but could not keep pace with accumulation rates of 3 to 4 inches per hour at the storm's peak. A snow emergency remains in effect across the city on Tuesday. Public schools are closed, city offices delayed their opening until noon. The subway, bus lines, commuter rail, and ferry systems are all operating on reduced schedules, meaning platforms packed well beyond comfortable capacity. In Massachusetts, which saw the highest concentration of power outages in the nation, 250,000 customers sat in the dark as of early Tuesday morning. In New Jersey, 93,000 additional homes and businesses had no electricity. Power lines buried under ice and snow, transformers blown by the weight of accumulation. The sound of a transformer exploding in the middle of a blizzard is something people who lived through this week will not forget. Road crews fought conditions no plow driver should be asked to work in. Massachusetts transportation officials reported that plow trucks could not reach abandoned vehicles because the roads themselves were impassable. There is a moment in a blizzard when infrastructure stops working. This storm reached that moment in multiple states simultaneously. Remember the numbers we covered earlier: 37.9 inches in Providence, over 600,000 without power, 11,000 flights canceled. Those are not statistics. Those are people who did not make it to medical appointments. People who missed the chance to say goodbye to someone. People who ran out of medications. People who sat in 38-degree homes for 2 days. If you are in the affected area, comment below with your city and what you experienced. Tell us how much snow you received or how long your power was out. Your account matters, and it helps everyone watching understand the true scope of what this storm did. This is not just a transportation disruption. We are looking at a collapsed air travel network, a crippled commuter rail system, dangerous road conditions across 10 states, and over 600,000 homes without heat and power, all happening simultaneously. 4 separate infrastructure crises at once. At Newark Liberty International Airport, thousands of flights were canceled or delayed through Tuesday. The ripple effects of 11,000 canceled flights nationwide will take 4 to 5 days to fully clear. If you have travel plans anywhere in the Northeast this week, assume disruption. Do not assume your flight is operating on schedule. In New York City, the subways resumed with residual delays Tuesday. Metro North, Long Island Railroad, and NJ Transit came back online with modified schedules. But the commuter rail systems were operating at significantly reduced capacity, meaning platforms were dangerously overcrowded. Boston's subway and bus systems reopened with reduced service, but city offices delayed their opening until noon Tuesday. Delaware's Department of Transportation reported that nearly 100 roads across Kent and Sussex counties had downed trees or power lines. Some of those roads may not be cleared for 72 hours or more. But here is what most people are not thinking about right now: the weight of 2 to 3 feet of wet snow on rooftops. Flat roofs and older residential roofs in the I-95 corridor are at serious risk of structural stress. If you are in New Jersey, Rhode Island, or Massachusetts, and you have an older home with a flat or low-slope roof, you need to have someone assess it before temperatures warm, and that snow turns even heavier with meltwater. The last time Providence, Rhode Island saw anything close to this was never. There is no last time. This is the record. State and local governments activated emergency protocols days before the storm made landfall. Rhode Island declared a state of emergency on Sunday, February 22nd, issuing a travel ban and activating the Rhode Island National Guard ahead of blizzard conditions. The National Guard deployment was not symbolic. Guard units assisted stranded motorists, supported rescue operations for residents unable to leave homes, and transported emergency personnel who could not drive. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani issued a rare citywide travel ban for non-essential vehicles across all city roads, covering every street, highway, and bridge within the 5 boroughs. That ban was lifted at 12 noon Monday as the snow began to taper. City public schools opened Tuesday for in-person instruction. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey spoke directly to residents during the storm's most intense hours, urging everyone to stay put for the safety of plow drivers and emergency personnel attempting to clear the roads. Meanwhile, Connecticut lifted its travel ban Monday night as conditions in that state improved ahead of the rest of New England. Philadelphia ended its snow emergency at 6 in the morning Tuesday after recording more than 14 inches of snow, each state moving at its own pace through the recovery process. But here's the question that emergency management professionals will be examining in the weeks ahead. With 5 days of advance warning, with blizzard warnings issued ahead of time, why did over 600,000 customers still lose power? Power companies are required to pre-position repair crews ahead of major storms. Were enough crews pre-positioned? Were utility hardening investments adequate for a storm of this magnitude? These are not political questions. They are infrastructure questions that every community from Virginia to Maine needs to answer before the next historic storm arrives. And the forecast models are already showing that the next significant event could be as soon as this coming Wednesday. Here is the important part about what this means going forward. The blizzard of 2026 does not exist in isolation. This is the second significant severe weather outbreak in the continental United States in February alone. On February 19th, an early-season severe weather outbreak struck Illinois, producing at least 2 confirmed tornadoes across Effingham and Crawford counties. The most severe structural damage was reported near New Hebron in Crawford County, with additional hail damage reported along the Illinois River Valley. That same week, a wildfire burned 127 acres and damaged 14 structures, including 7 homes near Plainview, Texas. And right now, at this very moment, an atmospheric river is targeting the Pacific Northwest and Northern California, with rainfall amounts potentially exceeding 6 inches over 72 hours. Mudslide risk in Northern California is a real and present threat for anyone living near creeks, streams, rivers, or low-lying areas. What nobody else is telling you yet is this. Forecasters are tracking an increasingly active pattern across the Mississippi Valley through the first week of March. Frequent cold fronts pushing down from Canada, warmer, moisture-heavy air flooding up from the south, amplified by drought-dried ground across Texas and the southern plains that heats up faster than normal. That is the setup for a severe weather season that could begin earlier and more intensely than average. Tennessee, the Ohio Valley, the southern Great Lakes. Your severe weather window may open before March is halfway through. Here is your future teaser. Long-range models are showing a potential pattern shift around the first week of March, where the combination of Arctic air from the north and warm Gulf moisture from the south creates prime conditions for severe thunderstorm outbreaks across the Mississippi and Ohio valleys. I will have a full spring forecast video covering that pattern and what it means for your region before the end of this week, on Friday. For Florida residents, this is not good news. The drought worsening across your state, combined with a dry pattern that shows no significant relief through early March, means wildfire risk in Florida will escalate. Fires already burning across the state over the past 2 weeks are not going away. Make sure you have notifications turned on so you do not miss the Friday spring forecast update. Let us recap exactly what we have covered. Providence, Rhode Island recorded 37.9 inches, an all-time record for the city. Over 600,000 homes and businesses lost power across 8 states. More than 11,000 flights were canceled through Tuesday. Boston was buried under more than 2 feet of snow. Newark reached 27 inches. Central Park in New York City recorded 19.7 inches. And 2 people lost their lives in Maryland before the storm even reached its peak. What is coming next? A clipper system brings additional snow to the Great Lakes on Tuesday and then to the Northeast on Wednesday. A new winter storm targets Chicago, Indianapolis, Toledo, Dayton, and Detroit Wednesday night into Thursday, with a dangerous ice and sleet transition zone during the Thursday morning commute. And a line of potentially severe thunderstorms tracks through Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia on Thursday afternoon. Share this video with anyone you know in the Midwest, the Great Lakes, or the South. The systems headed for those regions this week deserve the same level of attention the Northeast just received. They need to see this before Wednesday.